Well, the New Orleans Saints were chased inside by the rain and then went to work on the 2-minute drill. Hi again, everybody. With John DeShazier, I'm Sean Kelley. This is the Saints Training Camp Report. Yep, inclement weather at the Oyster Sports Performance Center today and all across southeast Louisiana. So, John, what was supposed to be an outdoor practice in front of a big crowd here was moved inside at the practice facility.
Yeah, unfortunately, Fan Fest gets canceled, and that's the main thing, and that's the sad thing. But the team did get their work in, and that's the major thing about training camp. You want to be ready for the regular season, so the Saints took another step.
Yep, and speaking of work, this is a real key piece of the work as we start to turn the corner toward the preseason games. The 2-minute drill, the 2-minute offense and defense, the big install today, JD.
Yeah, we saw the 2-minute, and again, that tells you they're getting closer to the regular season. We've already seen some red zone install today, the 2-minute install, and that means the team, again, getting ready for what they're going to see in the regular season, because a lot of games come down to the 2-minute drill, and they have to be able to execute.
Yeah, head coach Sean Payton talked about that. He also talked about some movement around the different position groups right now. John, we saw and we've been seeing, I guess, different veterans get days off, not too uncommon here during training camp. A couple more today, including up on that offensive line.
Yeah, that'd be right guard Larry Warford. Looked like he had the vet day off, and that allows for a little movement and some reps from some other guys in those positions. That's going to be a valuable backup position on this line.
Will Clapp played a little bit of that guard today. Sean Payton talked about that competition to be that 6th or 7th lineman.
The versatility is important. Those guys are competing to be lineman 6, lineman 7, make the roster. And if you can do more than one thing, it helps.
Do you feel like you have a lot of veteran guys in this group that can do that? Josh, Olivius, Don Barclay, and all those guys kind of have positions?
Listen, I think there's pretty good competition right now, I would say, for those guys that aren't in the starting group. There's a few guys that aren't practicing right now, and I think that this game is going to be important. The next 4 games are going to be important just to see what we have. There's some young guys. There are some veteran guys. So we'll see how it turns out.
John, another thing we're seeing this weekend is the competitive nature of practice getting more even for each side of the football. We've talked at times here throughout camp that one side or the other has dominated a practice. Not so much anymore.
Well, one, that was the offense that was getting dominated a little bit early in practice. And 2, these guys have pride. And we're talking about one of the best offenses in NFL history. So you knew they were going to rebound, but now we're seeing a lot more give and take back and forth between these 2 units.
Saints quarterback Drew Brees commented after practice today about that and as to why he thinks it's started to even out a bit.
When more install goes in, you're able to create more situations, right? So today was 2-minute, right? And so you talk about 2-minute situations and how that's such an important factor in each and every game. I mean, look at throughout the course of a season, you say 7 or 8 games or more are going to be determined on that last drive, that last possession, and whether it's us, trying to score it or us defending it. So that's a key situation. We've been through 3rd down, and then you talk through base, and then you're adding pressure. Defensively, they're adding new installs every day. We're adding new installs, and so each day it's like this new challenge. You're absorbing what you installed yourself, and then you're having to recognize what the defense is now doing, and they're just doing a good job mixing their personnel and doing a bunch of stuff. So yeah, this has been a challenging camp and really competitive, but at the end of the day, I feel like that's what really helps prepare you for the season.
Some of the reason why the offense has started to really pick it up, obviously in these last couple of days featuring red zone and 2-minute, is because there are individuals who had a big day. I guess today it was Tommy Lee Lewis.
Yeah, and he probably needed. I mean, we've seen some slippage from Tommy Lee, some drop passes and some things not going his way. And he was a darling of the camp for his first 2 seasons. But look, he's now an NFL vet. And you don't become the darling of the camp in your 3rd year. You've got to be a guy who executes what they want you to execute.
Yeah, on the active roster last year, one of 6 wide receivers for the most part. Lewis today talked about shining a bit.
Honestly, I needed this day. I just felt like I needed this day. Get back in my groove. I had a few drops a couple days prior, so I just needed this day.
Was it kind of camp blues? Were you in a little funk or what happened?
Yeah, I just got in a little funk, that's all, man. Not major, though, That comes with camp, so just got to fight your way up out of it.
Hey, man, he made some plays today. It was actually good to see a guy like that. He's been in this system. I really have a ton of trust and confidence in him. And he's a smart guy who knows, he can play every receiver position. Obviously his size, speed, quickness, you you like to be able to move him around and create matchups with him. And I think you're asking the DBs. I don't know if he's a real exciting guy to cover for them, you know, just because he can do so much and obviously got some pretty good straight line speed as well. But yeah, man, when we needed him today, he obviously made a ton of plays in 7-on-7, and then there at the end, making that big play in the 2 minute.
Yeah, so all in all today, a lot to watch. Very competitive on both sides, despite the cramped quarters with 90 different players here on this indoor practice field. John, check your notebook. Anything else on your news and notes for today?
Yeah, we had some guys miss in practice. I think there were vet days. We mentioned Larry Warford, also defensive end Cam Jordan, a guy who loves to work, probably had a vet day. Guys who missed practice also, tight end Benjamin Watson, running back Shane Vereen, and receiver Cam Meredith. Although Cam Meredith did work some routes with Drew Brees at the end of practice, but he didn't participate in practice.
Yeah, the officials were also here today, so we saw some flags here and there, and guys still trying to adjust to getting back into the mode of what's allowed and not allowed. And the points of emphasis also a big part of practice today, especially during 7-on-7. They're going to be real sticklers now about this contact at the start of a play, let's say inside 5 yards, and then on the back end with regard to officiating offensive and defensive pass interference.